All right, geometry. So we have slide 32, which is homework number 5. And we have the same exact shape and we have the same exact points. The only difference for 5 is that we want to prove that the opposite sides are congruent. Now, the difference here is that for 4, we wanted to prove they were parallel, so we use slope. To prove congruence, we would need to measure the lengths or find the distance. So that's the distance formula, okay? So that's x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared, okay? And for this problem, we're going to rely on Desmos to help us find our answer to the nearest 10, okay? So just as homework number 4, we want to find f to g, then j to h, and prove that they're congruent. And then we're going to do f to j and then g to h, okay? So we're going to go ahead and start as we did. We're going to state our points over and label our x1, y1. So f is -1, 5, and g is 3, 3. And just looking at this letter means the distance, right? And 4, the m meant the slope, okay? So just make sure that you are making note of what the variables mean. This is my x1, y1, x2, y2. And we're going to go ahead and plug that in. 3 minus -1 squared plus 3 minus 5 squared. Now, this is a mistake that I personally made that Mr. Will had to help me with. You have to make sure that you're adding these parentheses or else your answers are not going to come out correct, okay? I'm going to go ahead and plug in for the formula for the second set too. So I might as well just do these two while I'm at it, okay? So J is 2, -2, and H is 6, -4, x1, y1, x2, y2. My distance is 6 minus 2 squared plus, and then we're going to have -4 minus -2, 2 parentheses, squared. Okay, let's go right ahead and plug that in. I'm going to use the Desmos app on my cell phone. So the square root of parentheses 3 minus parentheses -1, close that parentheses, add an additional 1 squared, plus 3 minus 5 squared. And the answer that I have here is 4.47. And we're going to go ahead to the next one. Square root of 6, don't forget your parentheses, Mr. Bear always does that. 6 minus 2 squared plus -4 minus, we got those 2 parentheses again, all right? -2, close it again and square it. And then we have our 2 distances. So my second distance is also 4.47. So that 7 turns that 4 into a 5. So here my distance would be equal to 4.5. And my distance here would be equal to 4.5. So my distance equals 4.5. And my distance equals 4.5. Now you guys don't have this in your notebooks per se. I'm just like trying to model for you guys how I would do it on the diagram. Okay, we're going to go ahead and find that the distance is congruent between the next 2 sides. Okay, doing the same thing again. F is -1, 5, and J is 2, -2. X1, Y1, X2, Y2. Plugging that bad boy in. 2 minus -1 squared plus -2 minus 5 squared. My distance equals, and we'll find out. Last one, G is 3, 3. H is 6, -4. X1, Y1, X2, Y2. Plugging in, my distance is 6 minus 3 squared plus -4 minus 3 squared. My distance equals, okay? Opening up my Desmos app. Doing this again. square root of parentheses 2 minus, putting that parentheses again because we're substituting in that -1, close it twice, squared, okay, plus -2 minus 5 squared. That is not correct. -2 minus 5. And there we go. So that's for f to j. Now we're going to go g to h. Square root of 6 minus 3 squared plus -4 minus 3 squared. And as you guys can see, we have the same, well, my phone might look a little blurry, right? But as you plug this in on Desmos, you should be able to see. For f to j, I got 7.61. And then for g to h, I also got 7.61. So I'm going to go ahead and round that to 7.6. So for f to j, my distance is 7.6. And for g to h, my distance is the same. D equals 7.6. D equals 7.6. So using the distance formula and my math, I just proved that FGHJ is a parallelogram by showing that the opposite sides are congruent. Okay, hope this video helped.